Okay,
Let's get
ready?
started.
Go.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're excited to be here with you. Hi,
Yes,
Sue. Good to see you.
let's.
Welcome, everybody. We are streaming on both Charlotta and my channel. So if you are on one or the other, you can go and check us out on the other page. We've both
Yes.
tagged each other below. We are here for our Tricky Thursday live chat, and today's subject is gift ideas, both to give and to receive, because we deserve good gifts as well. So,
And to make.
gift ideas to tell your friends and family. And of course, we want to hear from you. I've got Sue and Sandra and W Designs. Hello in my chat. And before we get started, we always want to check, how does our sound on my channel? Charlotta, can you
Yes,
say
and how
something?
do I sound on Trisha's channel, and how does Trisha and I sound on my channel? And I can't see anybody in my chat yet, so I'm not sure it's working or not. We'll find out in a minute. It looks
Okay.
fine, but
Yeah.
it's always a little bit exciting whenever we do something like.
There's always a little bit of technology
Yes.
figured out.
Is it working? Is it not?
Yeah. Are we on test?
Yes.
And we can't test before we
No.
go live, so that's why it's always like, hey guys, how does it sound?
But Trisha and I, as you might know by now, we do like to live a little bit dangerously. We like a deadline and we like a slightly stressy YouTube.
Sue says we sound good.
Fantastic.
Maybe a little low for I turned it up a little bit to see if your sound would be a little bit. It said it was a little better on me.
Yes, we just have to wait and see. And sometimes I
Yeah.
think it records differently as well, so apologies if it's uneven.
So, Charlotta, do you want to introduce yourself for new people?
Yes, hello, I'm Charlotta. Like Trisha, I love pattern cutting. I come from a fashion design background and I've been teaching pattern cutting for 15 years now nearly. And I just love the skills it gives it to you, and seeing people, you know, from complete beginner to making something, understanding that's how it works, that's how clothes works, and making something beautiful. And Trisha and I met through our love for pattern cutting, and we love our monthly lives on here where we sort of talk about pattern cutting related things. So this is not a tutorial, this is not a to-do list, you know, this isn't a formal chat. So we do have both like more in-depth tutorials and stuff. Trisha has the Tricky Thursdays. I have lots of fashion and pattern cutting tutorials, but this is more a place to hang out with all of you and share things and have a chat with each other. And how about Trisha? Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, and yeah, everything that Charlotta said, and yeah, we both love pattern cutting, and we both want to make it accessible and easy for people to learn. So we both offer services and have our YouTube channels and other Instagrams and things to share those types of things, and we just love sharing about it. And it's great because while Charlotta comes from a fashion background, I come from an entertainment background, making costumes for live entertainment. So it's always great. And plus, being in the US versus Charlotta being in London or UK, I should say, you know, hearing about the differences in pattern cutting and sewing, and that way we can best serve all of you students. And yeah, like we said, we both have tutorials and classes that we offer and classes that we teach, but this is our monthly chat where we just get to kind of nerd out on what we love and chat with all of you. So we do encourage you to chat with us and give us your feedback. This is when we get to hang out and just kind of talk about different things that help us all, you know, improve our skills and make beautiful clothes that make us feel wonderful.
And it is always really interesting to hear like the different perspectives. That's what I love. You always find out something new and learn something.
And I have to say, that's one of my favorite things. I've been teaching a lot in person, as we were just chatting about before we jumped on, at some various conferences, and and very different groups of people that I've seen recently, which has been wonderful. And the great thing about it in teaching in person and just sewing with others, like when I used to tour with shows and work with different seamstresses around the world, around the country, is I always learned something. I actually learned something in my last class that I taught, where I was teaching sewing professionals for the ASDP Sewing Professionals group. And it's just a wonderful thing about this craft, about sewing and crafting, pattern making in general, is that there's always more to learn. There's always different ways of doing things. So I think that both Charlotta and I are really open to
Yes.
learn from each other and learning from others. And we just, that's why we call ourselves pattern nerds, because we're like, ooh, how do you do it? You know, it's more about that and sharing what we found.
And
So,
actually, that's, I think, that what I always liked about you, that you have enough experience, but you know there's always something new to learn. And that's what
absolutely.
makes it exciting. There's always something new to find out, something I didn't know. And I'm the same. I've been teaching lots in real life. It's just always a little bit different than teaching online. But there was like a way of constructing a zipper I hadn't seen before, which was great. And also today, somebody mentioned electric bias making tape machines. Have you heard about that before?
I is it the one that you like? I know,
Not
I
the
think
one
it's
on
a
the
handheld.
ironing board. No, it's like a little machine. And it's basically
I
the
think,
same, but you switch
yeah,
it on and it basically pulls it
does it
through.
for you.
So I thought, ooh, something new. It sounds
Yeah,
exciting.
I
Might be a
know. It's
present
exciting.
or a gift.
Very cool. So welcome. I see some more people showing up in my chat. Kathy accidentally on Steve's account, and and we've got Katie from Texas. Welcome everybody. Are you seeing chat on your?
I've got a few, yes.
Okay,
I
good.
know quite a few of my students said they're busy today, so I'm sad to miss them. Hopefully they like the recording. I might have to
Yeah.
pop into your chat as well. So shall we talk about, I think you want to start by saying gifts you might want to make. Do you want to start with
Maybe
that?
want to make, because I think a lot of us as makers, I know that in my membership community, they've already started on their Christmas gifts. I'm like, you guys are way ahead of where I am. I'm like, I can't even, we got to get through Halloween before I can focus on Christmas. That's just my rule. But yeah, I think we have this skill. It's a great way to, you know, if you can make something, it's a great way to save some money possibly, but also it's more personal when
Yeah, I
you can
think it's to
make it.
show some love, isn't it? Like you
Yeah,
invested
I
the
think
time on
if
somebody.
it's like, if I made you something, that means I took time to actually, I didn't just go and buy it. You know, I thought about it, thought about the fabric I want to use, thought about the item and how you might, because I don't know about you, but I get stressed out with gift giving because I don't want to give gifts that people won't use or won't like. So it stresses me out because I'm like, well, but what would they want? You know?
Yes.
So
It's
being
lovely
able
when
to,
you get it right. It's really wonderful. But
right,
it's sort of
right,
like, that's why it's so important, isn't it? Especially with people you really care about. You want to make sure that their faces light up. And because if the better you know, the more you can tell when they're
right.
putting a brave face on as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have a couple in mind. Should I start?
Yes,
What do you?
please.
So I actually just taught a class at ASDP using circles. So using circle drafting, and this was actually a freebie that I gave away to my newsletter a couple years ago, maybe 2021.
I know which one it
Maybe I need
is.
to do it again. Let me know. But talking about how, you know, to use circles in drafting, but it's just, you can use fleece or wool or anything that you find around, but it's just, it's a circle vest. It's just a big circle with some armholes cut in, and then how you edge it, and you can even put like a little snap or a button, and it's really easy and really fast to make. It's just a big circle and you figure out where the armholes are. I even put like pockets in mine. But it's a really I made the year that I kind of was talking about circles, I made up this tutorial, and then I made my sisters both one of these, and my boyfriend's mother at the time. But it's just a big circle with armholes, and then the way that I finish it off is with some elastic binding,
Oh, lovely.
so that you can draw it in at the hood area, and then it kind of hugs around. But it's really fast, it's really easy, especially if you get that elastic binding. You could do regular binding as well and use your electric binding maker, but you know, I did this and I thought it was really fun. So it's just
It's really nice. I actually had a version like that made out of knit, but rather than being a circle, it was a rectangle.
yes.
And where the armholes there, I think it was knit fabric. it had slits, and then it literally just had tubes going out for the sleeves.
Ah,
But because it was a really thick knit fabric, it made the most beautiful coat, exactly like yours. But because it's square, it becomes a shawl collar.
mm-hmm.
And then you can, oh, actually, I had 2 lots of sleeves, 1 set of sleeves, and then I had another lot you could use to tie it. Bought it
Oh,
in Amsterdam years ago. But that idea is really nice for using blankets, because it's like, you know, when you
yes.
come in charity shop, thrift shop, if you find a blanket, you can sort of upcycle it. And this,
Yeah.
you can see with Trisha how the circle becomes a hood or like that. And if you do it square, it becomes more like a 1950s collar. And it has that
Like
really,
a
if you
big
add the
wide collar.
sleeves in, it gives you like a natural dropped shoulder. It's really elegant. Balenciaga did something similar, so they're really nice to make. Actually, if you love vintage, also if you have the Metropolitan Museum has a whole section of Balenciaga stoles, scarves, you know, this of opera stoles.
Yes.
Have a look
Oh,
around
I
there.
love scarves. They're
Yes,
like one of
yeah,
my favorite winter accessories. And
yes.
yes, it is in your membership. And it's under the PDF download. You have the full tutorial as well. And then I had a little video that I created that I don't think is in our membership, but I can make it so. We can add it in. And speaking of upcycling, this is another thing. I did these last year for people. So these I went to the op shop or thrift store and I got some sweaters for the print. And they are just little leg warmers or boot warmers that you can put over your boots. And then it gives it a really cute, different look, to your boots. Plus, it helps keep you warm. I lined it with, this was actually, I couldn't find this fleecy fabric. So I went to Walmart and got like one of those, throws and used it for the linings. And I did a little bit of interfacing. And I believe I have a tutorial for this in our membership as well too. It was also a freebie for my newsletter. Honestly, somebody had gifted me a pair of these, so it's a set for Christmas one year, and I was like, it's literally a rectangle, right? I was like, these are really simple, they're really easy. And on the ones that I gave away, I kept these ones, but on the ones I gave away, I got some like big chunky buttons to go on the outside, and you could like add lacy trim if you want. And they're really quick and really easy and very cute. And you can use like upcycled materials for that. So I think I did that for last year's around Christmas time giveaway. And then when I did the circle vest for everybody, I made little fingerless gloves out of fleece and then
Oh, that's
edged it
lovely.
with the matching fabric from the circle. So you can make little fingerless gloves by just like tracing your hand, if you're using like a fleece or a material that has some stretch. And those are really quick and easy too.
Yes, and there's also like really nice, like bags are always really nice to make, because I think it's
Yeah,
sort of where you can put
more
presents
sizing.
inside as well instead of wrapping. I have a tutorial for a Viennette scarf, which is on my pattern cutting school, which is all cut on bias, and it's a really fun way of doing bias. And I've also got a tutorial for a 1940s. It's
And thank you.
basically a lunchbox bag, but it all comes out of one piece, and you can use it's quite Japanese. I will actually make both of them public for the holiday period on YouTube, but they're also on my pattern cutting school as well. If you're on that, I will put it on there
Bags
as
are
well.
great because who doesn't need accessories? And what I love about bags and accessories is you don't have to worry about sizing.
Yes, and you can sort of really play around with the fabrics we like, with colors we like, but it doesn't have to be a fashion fabric as well. So you can use offcuts and stuff. And this one is like a sort of perfect for your bento box or to put a present inside. So it's really nice, and it's, from what I remember, really quick to make, but looks nicely finished as well. Because you always have to think, don't stress yourself out too much. It's like already really stressy period. So find things which people will like. It's fun to make, but isn't suddenly when you're sitting there on the 24th of December, panicking, having to finish 10 of them.
Well, and another thing that I did for some of my family, which took a little bit more planning and forethought, was I had made myself, to test it out, a hoodie using the Luderlo system. And I was like, what am I going to get for my brother-in-laws? Because they don't want scarves and they don't
Like Romas.
No, I drafted them and made I made all of them hoodies using the Luderlo system. Now they're like 6'3" and much bigger than I am. So it was great having the Luderlo system that you could just scale up to the larger size. I will say though, as much as I think that it's fun to use the Luderlo system, I did, while I was making these hoodies, have to go back and scale down the hoods because it scaled everything up while the
Yeah.
body was good, but the hood was like huge.
I'm less of a fan of it. I get why people love it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. You just have to be careful.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think you have to be quite experienced already to make it work, because you have to sort of know your body and stuff like that.
And I mean, remember we used Mrs. Depue's scale up, which is a similar system. And she was actually a teacher at PatternCon, and gotten to know her really well. So I just want to give her a plug as well, because those, I mean, you have to really check everything, walk your seams, check your corners and things like that. But it could be a fast way to draft something that's simple, and if you're wanting to go that route, and you would have access to multiple sizes.
Yes, that's the great thing about it, isn't it? And if you sort of I was thinking another thing, if you don't have time to make something for somebody, is to also, if you have somebody who likes sewing, maybe even more knitters or sewers, think about what they're like making, and you could make them a kit of stuff as well, because you yourself a maker, you know what they want. Because sometimes if people who don't make things give you things, they don't quite get it right, because we're quite specific, isn't it? We know whether something is good, or maybe sometimes I don't know, do you have Aldi in the US? And yes. And there's that famous middle aisle, isn't it? And some stuff is really good for sewing in there, but some you think, we leave that there. So that's a really nice thing.
I do that for my nephew. My nephew, he's 11 now, and he's been really interested in crochet. So I'll get him for like his birthday and stuff. I'll get him like tension rings, because that's always like the hardest thing to learn about, doing tension, and like a ball of yarn or something cool that I see,
Yeah, and again, that could come from a thrift shop or a charity shop, but you can pick the quality is nice, or if you're not quite sure, there's also nowadays like really nice kits and stuff. I've been talking about it before we went live. There's sort of really little the fabric shop where I teach my lessons, Crafty Baba, they have online as well, but she sells like sort of Japanese bag kits and Japanese embroidery kits, and some of them are really I think they're really affordable, so they're really nice stocking fillers. And there's also kits, have you heard Studio, I think she's called 77, I think she might be more UK based, but she sells like bag making kit. So again, you actually get all the notions which are really hard to get from normal shops in it.
There's some leather bag making kits here, and I am blanking on her name because I haven't been able to do that. And I know that Designs by Jamie or Creations by Jamie, she sells shoes, and she's like,
yes, that's great, shoes.
She also has like some shoemaking kits, because I bought one, found it the other day, and I'm like, I need to make these shoes. Like, I need to get on it. So yeah, that can be a fun project for people who are just getting gift for people who are just getting into things or creating.
Or if it's something like shoes, for example, it's something you could buy for both of you, and you could make it together, because then it's always quite nice to spend some time together, and as well. Yeah. I love that. So I think it's always about, I think a lot of times some presents are nice, like spending time together. I think time nowadays is the most precious thing.
I always appreciate that more than actual stuff.
Yes. Well, I think we have so much, isn't it? So it's very hard.
And like you said, time is like our most precious commodity. It's like if you can spend. I always like that. Travel's my number one. Like if you want to buy me a weekend somewhere, hell yeah, I'll be all about it. That's my favorite gift or experience.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, because but what is always really nice, like you can give people experiences by themselves, but what's really nice if you have a friend who loves pattern melting, maybe either going to an exhibition together and making a day out of it. You could do fabric shopping at the same time. And I've looked I like next year you get there's Victor and Rolf, there's Schiaparelli, there's lots of really nice collections coming up. Or even, you know, doing at the moment, my last sewing class was a mother and daughter, and I think they sort of take each other to sewing classes and do something
Yes,
together,
yeah.
which is really nice. Or of course they could go to PatternCon
They
next
can come to
August
PatternCon. I
together.
saw Jules put that's what she's getting for her
How are
holiday.
you? Fantastic.
Yeah, so yeah, things and live events like that I think are really great. And we did this year at PatternCon have, you know, a lot of mother daughters and a lot of grandma and grandkids.
Cousins.
It's such a beautiful way to connect with your friends and loved ones and still advance your skills and learn with things. So yeah, and speaking of PatternCon, you can find out more about PatternCon at pattern.com. And we are, it was the inaugural year this year, but we are going to start selling tickets for next year, 2026 in Atlanta for August 1st and 2nd. We just announced those dates. We will have volunteer tickets go on sale for Black Friday, which is November 28th, the Friday after American Thanksgiving. And then our general admission tickets will go on a week later, December 5th. So if you are wanting to come to PatternCon next year, that's definitely a great gift to ask for. And there will be more information coming out about that. So yeah, that would be a great thing, you know, to tell your loved ones like, hey, this is what I want. Like you said, travel and experiences.
Yes, or if you're like a sister or a really good friend, that's what you sort of could give each other. Such, and then it makes it extra special, isn't it? Or treat yourself. But it's like in the UK, we have the sort of knit and stitch show, for example, which is more general. But I know like cousins going together, and that's always really nice. Like spend some time together.
I do stuff with my cousins. Is it Kathy? I keep wanting to say Steve, which I know you're not Steve. Said I gifted our goddaughter an old train makeup case full of everything she needs for sewing: fabric, scissors, and a child singer. Sew handy, chain stitch, sewing machine. Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yes,
I would like that too.
And I think that's also great because you probably put in really nice stuff. So because if you would buy a finished kit, like some kits are nice, but if it's like especially beginner sewing kits, I think we've done the same for like my daughter's 13, like for her friends, like choose lots of nice fabrics and just know like a nice pair of scissors, rather than if you buy a beginner's kit, that's going to let it down, and then it's actually going to make it harder if you're a beginner, or the colors are all going to be wrong. So it makes it really personal because you know the person.
Right.
And you can sort of hunt the things out as well. So it's, you know, it's you do save money, but it's more personal as such as well.
Yes.
So more
absolutely.
special.
And I that old train makeup case sounds really cool. I'm a big fan of like vintage cool bags. I used to carry around, I found at a thrift store. Maybe somebody gave it to me. Like a big doctor's kit. It was
lovely.
Yeah. Almost a box like this, and I used it as my purse. It was my favorite.
Yeah, and they're great because they will open up, aren't they?
Yeah. It's just like,
Yes.
I love all stuff like that. That's very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, and get creative like that too. If it fits with the person that you're gifting style, you know. I'm a big fan of thrifting or repurposing things for different uses, if it fits with their style. And I think that's a really fun way to, you know, it's still personal, even though it's because you're kind of like finding it, and it's a good way to kind of save money and have something unique, you know.
And you can sort of really tailor it, like if you make the things for them, like the right fabrics, you know, the right wool, like for your nephew, you won't get, you know, you get like a nice cotton or whatever. So all these sort of things are really nice. I was just thinking as well, if you have any children in your life, what was an amazing success, I've been making little mice. I will, if people are interested, let me know. I will make a little tutorial. But they're literally just made out of basically quarter circles of fabric, and you use any wool felt, and you can make them in the evening on the television, and they're small. They look quite sort of funny, but they absolutely love them. You know, I'm always surprised because you think it's quite an old-fashioned toy, and they have a little bit of charms. You can even make them with Christmas tree or ornaments if you like that.
Oh yeah. Another thing you just reminded me, my best friend, she makes pin cushions.
Oh, that's lovely.
That a friend of mine, she used to do one every year for Halloween. Pin cushions are really easy to make, and you can make them in all different shapes. There's a lot of patterns that are out there, but what my best friend does is she goes to like thrift stores and op shops, and she'll get like interesting things to be used as bases, and then she'll like she makes shoes for like Cirque du Soleil. So she likes to get like shoe figurines.
Yeah.
And then like where the hole would be, like that's where the pin cushion goes, and
Yes.
she like makes that a pin cushion. That's always
Yeah,
really
because
good.
people like it with cake, with cups as well, don't they?
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. So that's another fun
Yeah.
present for like sewing people
Yes, and then you
too.
could even say it's like a voucher for going out for afternoon tea or something together, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes, I love
Do
that.
stuff like that. Yeah, that's really
And
nice.
Sue says, I used to make cigar purses. So I'm assuming you mean cigar case purses. That's cool. Like the cigar box. I mean,
And then sorry, what does it mean actually? It sounds really cool, but
a cigar box. They're usually like
I know
like
a cigar boxes,
and
but
then making it into a purse or
okay, yes, I mean that sounds really
like a
interesting.
handbag.
Yeah, because I like wooden boxes, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you then put on little handles and stuff, or we need to find out more, Sue?
That's what I'm envisioning.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah, that's what Sue said. Yes.
Yes, that'd be really cool. Like, yeah, like a perfect evening bag, isn't it?
I'll tell you, this is not good for now, and it was like way back in the day. I'm probably dating myself, but when I was in middle school, we made backpacks out of cereal boxes.
Oh, that's great.
Like Lucky Charm. We just punched holes and put like strings or shoestrings around them, and so then we had like they're cardboard, so they didn't last. But it was a really fun way. That was like when raves were a big thing.
Yes, I was gonna say all you have to do nowadays, you know, the laminate, the sticky laminating thing covered in it, and it's like Balenciaga or Moschino, isn't it?
Right?
Put some, you know, like some nice webbing on it. And like all the teenagers would love it because they're going really back to the 90s. Yeah, so it's still going on. So yeah. Yeah, any basic craft ideas from the 90s and they love you.
Right? I mean, we just thought it was, you know, fun and quirky. All that kind of like cartoony kind of stuff was really popular.
No.
And
actually that's always good because sometimes we think, oh, we've done that before, you know, it's really boring, but revisit it. And for lots of other people, you know, they probably have, you know, things go, you know, they disappear and it's then really new.
And Lee is saying we would love to learn how to make the mice.
Oh, thank you. I've had somebody saying as well. I will put it together.
Yeah,
there's whole families. We got Queen Victoria, everybody.
Oh my god, I know, that's such a fun idea. And I'm bummed I put that book somewhere away. Amy, I want to say Beckman is her last name. It starts with a B. She just came out with a new book. I mean, it's gorgeous, and it's like talking about little handmade dolls and things that we've passed, you know, like you remember the sock, monkey sock monkey.
Oh yeah,
could make and things like that. And I believe her book would be a great gift. And it just talks about how families kind of brought together through crafting and sewing and things like that. And I believe there's a QR code in her book where you can go and get patterns for making some of these like quick dolls, which would also be a wonderful gift.
Yes, and what's the nice thing is, you know, they're really small. So, you know, if you haven't got much time, you can probably do one in an evening and you can stitch it all by hand. So it's really, it's quite therapeutic for yourself as well. I quite like to just keep yourself busy when you're watching telly or whatever.
Yes, Cynthia, or that's Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Barrickman, Amy Barrickman. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah. I literally took it because my table was covered and I had to teach a class yesterday. And so I took it and I put it in my living room so that I could read it, you know, when other people were around.
There's also, if you like, again, if you have people who might be not yet pattern makers, we can still seduce them to become pattern makers. But if they like crafts, like things like making dolls is a really good introduction because it is sort of 3D and they're like, yeah, as you said, there's a new book more about the history, but that's the sort of thing you always find in charity shops. And just if you have experience yourself, you can sort of tell which books might be easier and which are harder, because I've bought some, I just think, yeah, that's actually making it really difficult when others make it really easy.
This is like a really quick read. Yeah. It's just like a small little cute book.
Actually, I have to show you
really
something if I can find it.
Yeah, more about the kind of the essence and the connection behind it. It's really a beautiful book about friendship, and and family and stuff through sewing and crafting, which
And I
is
think
really
both.
wonderful. And I think especially now, you know, since fabric, at least in the US, is so much harder to get a hold of, you know, like if you have sewing friends, you know, passing along fabric or getting them, you know, gift cards or something like that.
Oh
for where they
yes.
can
Has
fabric.
it really hit you? The whole thing with what was it called? The fabric shop, Jones, going down.
Joann's closing.
Yeah.
And now Michael's is, you know,
As well.
trying to pick it up, but
Okay.
I've heard from people on the internet most that a lot of the stores aren't stocked yet.
Okay.
And that was it. I mean, I didn't really shop there all that much, but like for notions and things. But like that circle vest tutorial that I did, I said to bring fleece because usually this time of year going into New Year's, it was everywhere at Joann's. Like it was super easy to get fleece, and they were like, I didn't know where to get fleece. I mean, Walmart has some fabric and stuff too, but yeah, I think it's been hard for some people. I know where I live now is kind of the furniture capital
Okay.
of the world, so we have a lot of upholstery shops and quilt shops, but we don't have a lot of apparel fabric
Yeah.
nearby.
I think we had, when I first moved over 20 years ago in the UK, like every little town had a fabric shop, and quite often they're run, but they're all independent. So they had like 40 years of stock. It used to be like treasure. And you know, you can imagine these sort of Tudor houses in the UK, and there's like several
Yes.
stories in the room. You just
So
go,
cool.
God, that fabric is from the 70s. And they all disappeared. So we're really lucky. We actually have 2 fabric shops in my town, which is
Oh wow,
really unusual. But I think there's a lot of towns where you literally haven't got.
well, and I know
fabric
people
shops.
like speaking of vintage fabric, like Stephanie Canada Backroom Finds
yes.
has vintage fabric that she sells as well, which are, you know, she found in like a warehouse of somebody who used to have all of that. W Design says, my kids have always been into thrifting, and we always find the best gifts at thrift stores, and none of us mind. I mean, I think it's a great. I have too.
I think you have to know the people, isn't it? Some people a little bit.
Yes, yeah, that's a bit more of a right. Like, and that's my thing is so I have some people on my shopping list where I'm like, they can get whatever they want from wherever they want. And that's why I go into the making, because I know they can't get something that I've made. And it's more personal, you know? So that's where a lot of times I'll turn to me made stuff is where it's like, this person can go and get whatever they want, but they can't go and get something that I've personally made for them. So that makes it a little bit more special.
No, I totally agree. And it's sort of even what I quite like is the whole sort of where you upcycle. So, again, personal, but my children all love Harry Potter. And you know, Harry Potter, they always has the Weasley jumpers, like at Christmas with their initials on it. So that's again something, if your children like a certain character or something, I buy the jumpers just from charity shops or Vinted here, and then you crochet it on. And again, it's sort of using, I think it's like certain things you pattern cut, like I like doing the scarves and the bags, but so think about where you can use your pattern cutting skills, how to crochet letters. And then put it on, but sort of again like upcycling, remaking things, but making it really special. And you know, if there's somebody who loves, what's really big here at the moment, the K-pop Demon Hunters, you know, you can do stuff related to that and things and have some fun with it, but it makes me special and I still really love it. I think it's always surprising, especially like I think young teens and stuff, they're quite hard to buy for because it changes with stuff, but if you make them something nobody else gets, it's still quite special. I think
makes it more special. So, and you also have something coming out on Black Friday, don't you?
I do, actually, because it's also my first anniversary of a whole full design and draft, which is everything I ever made, so which is very exciting. So I'm actually going to do it just before. So I've got a waitlist at the moment, but then I'm also hopefully doing some sort of public Black Friday sale, which is always nice. I think that's sort of more for treating yourself or a very special offer, like, you know, who might want to treat you. But also I think actually, are you buying something special for yourself?
It's great I don't know about you, but I always have like my mom and my dad and friends will be like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know, you know, like I'm like, I don't want, you know, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. And like getting a membership
Yeah.
to, you know, to your course or to your membership, that would be a great, like if somebody was looking to advance in their pattern skills.
Yeah.
Like when I was learning the fiddle, I asked for fiddle lessons one year
Yeah.
for my birthday. You know,
Yeah.
so you can equate that to advancing your skills or coming to pattern con, going to
Yes, yeah.
events,
And
things
again,
like
it's
that.
something where you sort of give something for the whole year or forever. Isn't something you can like
Right,
with Pattern Can,
right.
you can
More
look
than
forward
just one
to.
thing.
If it's a membership like mine, others, then you get something all year round, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Actually, the
And
best.
then other fun things. We want to talk about other things that we would want, or you know, maybe that some of our listeners tell us what other things might be on your list, and maybe we can give each other ideas. But we've got a couple of ideas as well. Did you have a couple?
Yes. So I've got, well, I want something really practical, which is really boring. I want a new steam station. So I might have to drop some hints for that. But I think it's sometimes, it's a bit boring, but I think if somebody actually asks you, be quite honest. Yeah. So I always have lots of books on my list. And especially as you know me, I like some books are quite expensive. I think you got a quite expensive book on your list.
Yeah, I was actually just sharing about one in my class that I taught yesterday on drafting knit pants. This is the book that I was using, Pattern Making for Stretch Knit Fabrics, by, what's her name, Julie Cole. This is, and somebody looked it up. It was $100 on Amazon, but it's quite a detailed book. And you know, that's the thing with books, so especially like this, or good resources like Winifred Aldrich or Helen Joseph Armstrong for pattern making, is that they are pricey books. I bought my, you know, Helen Joseph Armstrong book. This is an old edition, you know, back many, many years ago. And, you know, I still have it, right? So it is an investment. But if somebody is wanting to support your craft and your skills, that's a great thing. You know what? I know that some of my family members and friends, they'll create like a wish list on Amazon.
Oh, yes, that's a good idea.
And so you can add books to your wish list, and you could just send them like, these are things that I've been wanting but haven't been able to buy myself. You know, that's a great way to.
But I always say, like for yourself, you can be quite specific. Like actually, I got the Vionette book for my birthday because I think that's £100, so that's really expensive. But it's a really good one, and I think if somebody asks you and they're not quite sure, don't just say, "Oh yeah, can I have a book about fashion and pattern making?" Because some which are better than others. So you will be quite specific. And again, if you're choosing gifts for others or presents, as we say here in England, actually sort of look which have lots of good images. So it's always sort of like actually choose somebody who are interesting diagram images. Or for example, I did a review recently on Jane Austen's wardrobe, which is like if you people who are like into fashion history, they're really interesting books where you can learn. So it might not just be pattern cutting, it might be sort of a whole thing around which improves your pattern cutting skill. And that's I've actually gave it back to the library, but Hilary Davidson, she's got lots of books about Regency dressmaking, but they're always really good pictures. And it's stuff like that to consider. On Amazon, it's sometimes a bit hard to find out.
It is sometimes, for sure. You know, they started as a book retailer.
Which is weird, but they never have like the inside pictures. But think about it.
These are always fun.
They're great.
Like the Pattern Magic books, I got these as a gift.
So they would be for more advanced people.
Yes, not beginners.
Yes. I was gonna say, if you have people who are interested like in vintage sort of pattern cutting, get them some vintage pattern cutting catalogs, vintage like the Lutolo system, Mrs. Depew, she has lots of sort of vintage things you can draft and stuff, or even vintage fashion magazines. They're really expensive, but they're really inspirational for if you're into that, into vintage pattern cutting, for ideas, like vintage Vogues, Harper Bazaar, vintage sewing pattern magazines. They got so much beautiful stuff in.
Yeah, where you can see images like that. For sure.
And again, it makes it really special.
And then there are some tools being listed.
Yes.
Let's see, there was
anybody else want an iron for Christmas?
Yes, actually, Sandra's saying I'm getting a garment steamer for my birthday from my in-laws.
That's very nice.
And then Jules says she wants a pattern master ruler for Carlotta's class, which I actually was gifted this by one of my students met last year. So
let's talk. Shall we talk about practical stuff? And then I also want to talk maybe consumables as well, because that's sort of more stocking fillers.
Yeah.
ruler wise, this one, that's because that's sort of in the UK it's about £15. So that's really worth getting, but it's so practical. If you have anything and anybody's interested in drawing, they're really good rulers. Or the Pattern Master. But again, it's like you can be really specific, or you know what's good. Yeah, you got
this one's similar. Yours is metric, obviously, but it's got more stuff on it.
Yeah, mine has got more measurements, hasn't it?
Yeah, this is a 1 inch, half quarter and 16.
Actually, I might need it because I always get confused by 6/8 and 2/8 and stuff like that.
You and everyone else, Charlotte. I was just talking about that. I was like, it would make it so much easier if we were all on the same system. But
yes,
I want more metric stuff because I wish I knew more about it. But yeah, having those practical things. And then Tina's saying that she wants a new professional 5-foot cutting mat. And
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, a good cutting mat. And I have recently just been in love with my So Tights cutting mat. I can't really show it, but it comes with, it's a magnet. Let me see, can I? So it's got these are magnets that will hold your stuff. I've been loving it for pattern cutting. And it also comes with, a big ruler, that's also magnetic. So you can hold things down and use it with a rotary. And this is a self-healing mat. They are an investment.
Yeah.
And you can do it with a bit of metal under your cutting mat and some strong magnets. But the thing I like about these is they are specifically made for people who sew. So the things and accessories that go along with it. And it's really good quality. It's a great company. And if you are interested or want to tell somebody who's interested in getting this for you, if they use my code CCA10, because I am an affiliate for them, they can get 10% off.
Great.
And then me as well.
Yeah, but I was gonna say that's a really nice, a cutting mat, good rotary cutter.
Yeah,
that's a really good thing. Especially if you're somebody, it's not just pattern cutting. Anybody who's sort of quilting, bag making, they're just really good things to have. And again, I think if they're quite new to it, they might not yet thought about different alternatives. And even scissors, nice pair of scissors. And you can get some, I think especially I've got mine are utilitarian, but you can sort of get a really nice pair. I got a really nice pair of ginger. Is it ginger? Ginger?
Ginger.
Oh, so you pronounce it ginger, not ginger. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a German.
No, it's you Americans. I was just looking at that. Okay. Ginger.
Ginger.
I think it's Americanized Germans.
Well, it was Ginger. I heard they've sold to Fisker actually.
Oh, so now it's not. Okay, because when I bought mine, it was still independent. But if you're in England or in Britain, there are some still made in Sheffield. And I got my husband a pair of, and I do it in matte black, so they look really stylish, and they cut beautifully. I will try to. I'll find the link.
I have some LDH scissors and rotary on their way to me right now, actually. Exciting. So I'll be excited to test those out and tell you guys about those.
Even if you maybe have somebody as well, if you know people better, you can work out if they have quite weak wrists, you might want to give them really lightweight scissors, and that's quite hard to find in shops. Or even
left-handed.
Left-handed. Yeah. Or even electric scissors, isn't it?
Yes.
Stuff like that, like shears.
Those were quite the rage for a while there.
Yeah.
I haven't tried them yet. I bought myself an electric rotary, and I'm too scared to use it. I'm like, but it is good. You know what?
I think good for straights maybe to practice, isn't it, to begin with?
That's the thing, and I was practicing, and the reason I got it was because I was cutting 150 Blue Man costumes in one season, and I'm like, there has to be a faster way of cutting. But then it was just really hard. There's a learning curve with those things about getting exact, right? I had to make sure it was exact. So
yeah, and you have to practice that enough if you've used a normal rotary cutter for the first time, especially if you use armholes, quite tight collars,
the curves, and I think straight lines is not a problem.
But it's sort of inside curves which are really hard.
I'll tell you one thing that I want that I have not yet bought myself, that I if anyone's listening who knows people who buy me presents, you know what I've always wanted is a punch hole. I know that Kate sells them in her little kits, or she sells them.
Yeah, for making the bust start points and stuff.
Yes. So
So
I always use an all, and that's what I was, taught to use. So that's what I teach, and that's what I, have in my
yes.
kits to use. But there's always that paper that's still there, right?
Yeah.
And I like to have a clean punch. And it's funny, maybe because I keep talking about it, but I just got advertised an advert on Instagram about a leather. It is a leather punch, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, and I think that's the one how Kate's is like it you push down on it, you don't have to like hammer it.
We used to have it at work. It's really satisfying because it makes like
Right?
Yeah, but it's like I've never bought one.
But it's something I've been like, I want one of those so
but it's
bad.
again, that might be a perfect present because I'm always been like too tight to buy for myself because you have your.
That's what I'm saying.
You have your This works perfectly fine. You're saving money.
Right? I got something that works, but it still would be cool.
Yes, no.
That's what's nice about gifts is when you give somebody that's something nice to have. It's not like necessary.
Notcher as well. Again.
Yeah.
Kate sells them. They're really satisfying.
Those I do include in my
really nice
kits because I really like them as well.
Again, they're really satisfying. And actually a really nice quality tracing wheels because quite often the ones you buy in shops are the ones for tracing through carbon paper. So we haven't got the mine are really pointy, can you see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And these
that's because that's a needle wheel as opposed to a tracing wheel.
Okay. So
are blunted.
We call these tracing wheel over here. Do you call a tracing wheel ones where it's basically a disc with cutout bits?
So we call. And there is a debate because this would be a tracing wheel.
Yeah, we call both it the same.
So it depends where you go, but this is also used in leatherworking.
Yeah, but it makes sense. But it's a needle because it has basically soup, and mine is 20 years old, and it's still really really painful.
Oh yeah, I've had the same one. It's got fabric threads tied around it, which actually is nice because now it makes it really tight. Sometimes they get kind of wobbly, but. This is a tracing wheel, and you will still see it labeled as a needle tracing wheel or a pattern tracing wheel or a leather tracing wheel, but I call it a ponce wheel, or a needle wheel is what I call this. Yeah. There is a little bit. But the needle and that ruler, those are like, if I had to pick two, these would be the two tools like that I want more than anything.
And I think it makes all the difference. So if you go into like a craft shop and they just have the normal tracing wheel, it's basically pointless. It doesn't work. I think it works but it doesn't make enough marks. But this you can clone clothes, everything. It's really good fun.
And that's why I sell these in my kits because they're harder to get.
Yes,
can't get them everywhere.
I was thinking as well. For people who might be quite new, like one of the things people always struggle with is like hem depth and all this accuracy. Have you got a gauge? Have you got all the images today, Trisha?
I do somewhere. And another great making gift. One of my students, Linda Eilerson, made this beautiful little bag. This is a pattern that you can get somewhere, and she saw me. Because like you said, like I have stuff that works. I would like carry all my tools in like Tupperwares, and she's like, "No, you have to have this," and I've been using it ever since. But Dritz, you have this little like hem gauge, and it's great because it's metal, so got the different measurements on either side, so you can press over it.
Yes, and there's different ones. I've seen different looking ones, but they're just really stuff like that's really practical for beginners, and I think because. If you sort of think about how you were when you were starting, like there's so much stuff and you get confused. So
my favorite marking tool that everybody always loves. And friction pens. Friction pens are great for anyone because friction pens are those pens that you can erase. I use these in my calendar or my to-dos, and then you can erase it. And you can I can color code my calendar and erase it. So friction pens are not always, just used for sewing. Yes. In fact, I don't really use them for sewing.
You have to be a bit careful with some of them. They come back if it gets really cold.
All of them will.
Do they? Okay, so it's not just
I don't like to use them for sewing.
Yes, so don't. Yeah.
But they're great for writing on paper.
Yes. Yeah.
Monica was asking, where do you get the hole punch for sloper? Oh, the rabbit punch. Do I have it? I think mine's downstairs.
It's the one for making the big holes.
The big holes for slopers, for like, if you have, and pattern hooks. I had somebody ask me about pattern the other day. So these holes, these are pattern hooks. So I believe Wowak has the rabbit punch is what it's called. It's called a rabbit punch, Monica. And those are, I believe Wowak has one. They often come into, like, I've had a plastic one, which wasn't, it's not as heavy, but it's not also as nice. And you want that, like, the all metal ones are really nice, but they are pricey. So that would be a great thing to ask for a gift.
And it's quite a specific gift, isn't it?
Right, very specific. And I know that there's some stores downtown LA that I have listed on my resource list. Yeah, and Tina was saying a gift certificate to like a Wawak or place where you can get where you can get tools like this would be great, so that they can pick their own tools, like things that they would need would be a great idea too.
Yeah. In the UK, there's a fantastic, because like I always love the Japanese tools. Like, especially for somebody who is like the Pattern Magic book. It's called 8 Needles, and I've got mine. That's the trace chalk wheel from there. But they sell all the different rulers, all the needles, the scissors. It's called 8 Needles. I think they must do on Instagram, but they do just like, all the really beautiful stuff, and it's beautifully packaged. So if you have somebody who likes things which look aesthetically beautiful as well, that's a really nice little present.
With packaging in Japan.
Yes, no, you can't beat them. We used to have I worked for a mostly Japanese company, and when they come over, like they always like even a box of like crackers, and it's just like,
I know, I was gonna say, even like they're like the bento box.
Yes, but I think and it's all wrapped in different paper, and they're really nice. I still have the lacquered boxes, they're just so beautiful, and it's just
I have my friend, she went to Japan and she brought me back like a packet of teas, like different teas, and it's so beautiful. I haven't ever opened it. I love tea. I drink it all the time. I have it in my tea cupboard, but I'm like, it's so pretty. I don't want to.
But I think it's actually whatever you gift, it could be something really practical. If you gift it beautifully and maybe use some fabric and sort of really say what you're thinking about it, what it's used for and stuff, that always makes it really special, I think. And the last thing I was going to talk about, maybe also consumable, because there could be like stocking fillers or little because we've talked about some quite expensive presents. You might give somebody really well, but there might be lots of friends from your sewing club or sort of from your hobbies, and then it might be consumables and stuff like that. And I would always recommend, because it's probably what we need every time, is to get them some Gutermann thread. Do you use Gutermann?
Oh yes, we love.
And they're quite expensive, isn't it? You always need more. So they do little boxes, for example, mixed boxes, which are more expensive. Or if if you get to know people, their colors and stuff, so you can get them a few of them and stuff, or just get them a few rolls of the white and black, and they will appreciate it.
And going back to the making, just because I thought you reminded me, somebody gave me this
lovely
for Christmas, and it's like it's just serged or overlocked pieces, but it has like a little needle threader in it, and it's to keep your needles.
Yes.
This is another really quick, easy project. And then she gave it to us with all these little things, and then just put it. I keep it in my sewing kit.
But that's like a really nice, if somebody, like in your friendship group, that's a really nice little gift you put in your suitcase and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
Tina said she got the dart hole punch from her great grandmother's sewing room.
Oh, that's nice.
Aren't you lucky, Tina? I've been eyeballing those for probably like 5 years since Kate first advertised her kit, and I'm like,
everybody what to get Trisha now.
I know. I just really have. I've been like wanting one of those forever. You know what else is great? If you know somebody who's a big rotary person, like I don't have a lot of shears or sewing things. But another fun gift, I just pulled this out. It came out with my little thing, is a bodkin. Mine is well loved and a little bent, but a bodkin, it's got like the big eye on the back end of it for like threading elastics and for threading ribbons through things, and it's a blended. There's this other cool tool that one of my students gave me. This is like a point turner thing, where it's got the ball on the end for turning points and things. Like little tools like this are really, great. And it's got a smaller one on the other end. For turning, but they're really nice things to have. And I mean, people have, or my mom one time got me like a really nice seam ripper, which is similar.
But I think that's the whole thing, because Tatiana in my chat was just saying, as somebody who buys a lot of little things to try out, I should have bought the Pattern Master Japanese ruler straight away. And I think that's what we sort of, if you know people, because I've done the same. I've got like all curved rulers I've never used and stuff. And it's sort of like you can actually, that's sort of really appreciated. If you have friends who are interested in the same thing, get them the really good seam ripper, get them the really good ruler.
Right. Yeah. The one that my mom got me is like, it's all, crafted and it's really pretty and it's on a chain. And actually I carry it with me for when people ask me if I have a seam ripper. I'm like, I do. I have this really beautiful seam ripper that my mom gave me. Another thing is if you're somebody who use a rotary a lot, even for garment making, I love this pinking rotary wheel, which they're not inexpensive, right? But that way I can use that for like pinking edges. And I love it for even for mock-ups and things, but specifically for like things that fray a lot, like loose woven wools and things, silks and stuff like that you don't want to fray out on you. This is great like when you're cutting it out. And they're not, they're not as, not that blades themselves are that inexpensive either, but these are a little bit more. But they're great. They're really great to have. So if it's somebody who likes like the rotary, that's another great tool to have.
Yeah, and I think it's stuff like that. It's purely practical, but it will be really appreciated by the person, because as we said, like Trisha still hasn't bought her hole puncher. It's like, that's the thing we never buy for ourselves, or we buy it for jobs and not for yourselves. And you're just like,
or the scalpel for seams. Yeah, I like that too. I use the scalpel. I usually use my snips around my neck.
Or what I've seen recently, and I thought, oh, that's a really good idea. You get the scissors which have a really round edge on one side, and we sell them as applique scissors. But they're fantastic for doing rolled hems. So that would be, because they cut. So you can cut really close to your stitch line if you're doing traditionally rolled hem, not with the rolled foot. That'd be really good. And actually, sewing machine, get somebody some boxes of really good quality needles and pins. And you could make them a pin.
They have some nice pins that you can get.
And make them a little pin cushion, so it's personal, but then put in really good quality pins. That would be a great gift too.
Somebody's saying, so look in vintage shops. For the dart hole punch is what Tina's saying. Okay. W Design says a wood turned seam ripper I picked up at the show. Also those pressing tools, the tailor pressing hand and sleeve press thing. Yes, great pressing tools is great. And I know what is his name, that made they have beautifully made like clappers and stuff.
I've seen it, like made of proper like hardwood, like really nicely done.
Nice hardwoods with pretty designs. Like that would be a beautiful gift. Plus you're also supporting other makers, when you get stuff like that. Monica's saying, have either of you ever used the seam allowance rulers? I have a friend who just ordered the 5/8 inch one, and she said they come in 1/2 inch and 3/8 size. So what is it? Seam allowance rulers? I don't know. Is that different from like the pattern master ruler, I think?
Or like the flexor?
She's saying the 5/8 and then they have 3/8 and
it sounds like
what would also be great. You have to know what kind of
it might be a really, really skinny one. So you literally just lay it on.
I haven't used one of those, Monica, but
or is it the ones where you have different gauges and you can gauge it in and out?
No, she's saying that her friend just ordered the 5/8 inch, so it's just 5/8. But she's saying that there's also a 1/2 inch and a 3/8.
I would class this as those thing where it's optional. It's probably really useful, but
you know what?
We both have like the multi-purpose ones, isn't it?
Specialized feet.
For your. Oh yeah, that's really good.
That's a really great
Yeah, I think
thing
a
to add.
walk, like people love the walking feet, isn't it? So that
Walking
would have
foot
been a really nice
on
present.
my industrial machines, like I love a top stitching
Yeah.
foot, and they have like a double top stitching foot. Those are nice gathered ruffled
Yeah.
feet. You know, I know
And
Bernina
actually,
has nice feet too.
if people are into like the vintage machines and vintage sewing, again, you can get so many really interesting different feet. Oh, and um I think it might be Caroline, to Caroline, is saying, she's saying I think it's to Caroline, my seam allowance rulers are heat resistant. So that's really good. So she can
For like
iron
turning it
press. So
and
that
things,
might
yeah.
be it. So that'd be,
Right.
yeah, because these will melt.
Yes, they will. But I'll tell you, one thing that I use for industrial machine users, which I don't know how many we have on here, but and anybody who has an all metal machine, I love they're a rectangle and they got a little knob and they're a magnet, like a really strong magnet. I use that instead of having the lines on my foot plate, so I
Oh
just
yeah,
measure
yeah.
from my needle, and that gives me an edge to mark my. I use that thing all the time, so that's a really nice. I don't think they're super expensive, but again, that's an industrial sewing machine tool that I've fallen in love with in the last few years, and use it all the time to set my seam allowances at the machine.
Yeah, I
Tina
think
says that there's also Bra Builders has an Advent notions box.
yeah.
That's a really
Yes.
wonderful idea for a gift. Yeah.
Yeah, just yeah, I would always want. I think I've heard some are really good. So if it's a company you like,
wanna
choose
know.
those, because I've heard some which are great and some which are really fantastic.
Yeah.
And I
speaking
think
of projects, that I know that Bra Builders also has like a muslin bra kit. You know, if somebody's been expressed interest in trying to learn to sew lingerie and bras, that would be a great, like we were talking about earlier with the kits and whatnot.
and somebody is saying a curve runner. Oh yes, I've heard of them. Have you got one, Trisha? It's like a circular ruler, and you just run it across the seams, and you can measure it as you. I think Jennifer Stern has talked them about them, hasn't it?
Those are so cool.
Yeah.
I've seen those. Yeah, I have. I don't have, or the double tracing.
Oh yes, yeah.
But the double wheel, yeah, those are. I mean, quilters have tons of cool gadgets, things that you know. I always think it's so cool. But like I said, I got this. It works.
But I think also that's why I make great presents, because I think for ourselves we're always quite like
I would have never bought this for myself, but now that I
No.
have it, I'm like, oh, look at my cool thing I can use. You know, that's why it's great to give them as gifts, I think, too.
Yes, no, I agree. Oh, I actually, and you're talking about magnetic seam allowance gauges, or with also like a magnetic pin holder, and you can also get them for your sewing machine, isn't it, where you actually put it on it, and anything like that.
And going back to sew tights, if you didn't want to, because the cutting mats are a little pricey, but you know, they also have like hand pins, so that you can, like little hand mix, like this is a magnet that you can use as, they're like magnetic pins when you're sewing, and they're a little bit less expensive, and they would make nice gifts. And then they also have, I don't have one because I gave them away at Quilt Fest, but they have a needle minder, so it's a magnetic
like a brooch
shirt, so you can put your snips or you can put your needle while you're working.
Very nice.
But you do be careful, you can't have a pacemaker.
Yes, I was going to say you could make those yourself as well, isn't it? If you like sort of that, you could play around and make a brooch like that, couldn't you?
And
oh yeah, these are great.
This, my little, thing. I had one years ago when I was in college that was super strong. Now I bought this, I don't remember where I bought it now, but it's not.
Oh no.
And I miss my old one. So if you found a good one of those, but yeah, I'm a fan of the magnets. Although I do have a professor that was like vehemently no magnets near the sewing machine.
Well, and also it magnetizes all your scissors, doesn't it? If you're a proper one,
and your pins and everything too. Everything, like, you gotta be careful. But I still think it's super handy. Well, we could go on for days, and
yes, we have already gone.
The hour has flown by. We've loved chatting with you guys, and thank you for your suggestions and kind of sharing with us your ideas. Hopefully we gave you some ideas. Like we said, Have we planned for? I think we had planned.
I
for
think
the
we're
week
not doing
before.
next month because it's
No,
Thanksgiving.
we were gonna do a little earlier because of Thanksgiving for next year, but I think it was the third week. And of course, I don't have the calendar in front of me.
I've got my.
But
Oh yes, we did 20th of November.
right.
Yes,
So,
and that will be. Oh, we might do one in December. We're not quite sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
December's always tricky
Yeah.
because of the holidays going
Maybe
on.
do a party or something.
Yeah, we'll do a party or something.
Maybe over
but-
Instagram. It might be quite good fun.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. We can invite people out. We've done that
Yes,
before.
that's always
Thank
nice.
you guys for joining us. And as always, you know, we love hearing from you and love hanging out with you. And we do this, we tried to do this once a month. Most of the time we took last month off because both of us were just so insanely busy. But yeah, we do have some plans for next month. And if there's ever anything like a topic or something that you think would be great, I think this was actually a suggestion from Natalie, right? Natalie Chin.
Yes, because I was talking about the Regency fashion books, and she said, "Oh, I bought it for my birthday already."
Ah, yes. So yeah, if you ever have an idea of what you'd like us to chat about or what you would like to see more conversation around, just please let us up, because we're always like, what should we talk about? What would people be? And then we're always like, are we going to be able to have a long enough conversation? And then the hour flies by and we could still keep talking. But
yes, no, it's always fantastic. Yeah, and I think sometimes when we pick out topics, it might go a little bit too niche. So it's always interesting to find your niche rather than just ours as well. But no, I never had an hour which hasn't been interested. So that says a lot, because I think we've been doing this now for 3-4 years, Trisha. It's been a long, maybe since COVID, isn't it even? So yeah, yes, yeah.
We still learn things from each
Yes,
other.
no, which is lovely.
And from you guys.
Yes.
We love hearing from you guys. That's what makes it really fun.
And just if you want to join PatternCon, do make sure Black Friday you check out Trisha, and do check out my Black Friday sale as well.
Yeah. Do you have a wait list or something? Maybe
yeah, I think if you're on my site, it's in the description, and everything I always do is patterncuttingschool.com or my Instagram as well. So
and to find out more about PatternCon, visit patterncon.com. And I'll put that link in the description as well. And we'll talk more about it. We'll be back before that. So join us again next month where we can chat. But thank you guys, everybody. We'll see you next